urban environment here, heading home. Quite windy. The only disadvantage to a light bike, the wind kicks your butt. Nice vet. Whoa, freaking wind. Highway should be interesting with the wind like this. Must mess with phone. Well, I'm surprised she's not going into Starbucks. Those things seem to go together. Texting while driving in Starbucks. Stock. Oh, that's one thing. Stock brakes on this are 10,000 times better than the stock brakes on the Himalayan. I almost forgot about that category until just now. Nice visor. Got Mercedes-Benz for days over here. Is that the same Ioniq 5 I was behind this morning? How ironic, Ioniq. Madness, I tell you. What are the chances? Can't be the same one. This is going to be noisy with all this wind. Turn my music up even. Heated grips. Not that cold, maybe 55, 54. But these are my summer gloves, so meh. I got heated grips, I'm going to turn them on. want to do a Del Kelvic full exhaust on this guy. I've got an O2 eliminator from Kawasaki Brad. I'll put that on. And if that doesn't quite make it run the way it should, I'll just put an EJK on it. I'm assuming EJK makes a tuner for this. I put one on my KLX 300. It works, does what it's supposed to do. Maybe I forgot to mention also, I did go up 1 tooth larger on the front sprocket on this guy, because 99.9% of this use of this bike so far has been on the street. I think I've been off-road on a gravel road twice with it. Hard to count that actually, but I did get it ready for some off-road by putting on some 804 805s, and I would have went this weekend, but the OHV was closed because of all the rain we've been having. Maybe this coming weekend, Easter weekend, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. All motorcycles don't have self-canceling turn signals. I mean, we had them on bikes in Kawasaki back in the 80s. It was tied into the odometer. Once you went X amount of feet, it clicked off. What happened to that idea? That's probably a 10-cent circuit nowadays. Pretty good. I'm gonna make this green. Probability is yes. One thing I think I would do if I'm gonna take this guy off-road is I'd put an on-off switch in this blank here and tie into the rear ABS sensor and just have the switch break that circuit, and that would trigger an ABS light, of course, and obviously the rear ABS would no longer work, so you could flip that off when you're going off-road, or even on the fly maybe. I don't know if this will, if you complete the circuit again without restarting the bike, I don't know if it'll re-engage the ABS or not. I think maybe you have to power off and power back on again, but I don't know. It sounds like another project, because we've got lots of projects at Mike's Projects and Hobbies. So yeah, before I run out of battery here, we can, if you were looking at buying either this or Himalayan, my advice would be, well, first, try to ride both, but I know test rides aren't always possible. but buy the one that you like as far as the way it looks. I mean, they're polar opposites on, you know, looks. So I would get the one that you're going to be happy with looking at every day. I'm not really going to say, in my opinion, which one is better, because better means different things to different people. Because honestly, if I was in the market for an only bike, just I was only going to have one bike, I don't think it'd be either one of these bikes. But that's just me, because I live in California and I have to be able to go, you know, 89 miles an hour. But if I lived somewhere where I didn't have to worry about going fast and on highway traffic, I don't know, it's a hard choice. I guess it depends on how I feel that day, because honestly, you can't go wrong with either one. I think you're going to gain ground with reliability with the Kawasaki. I think you're going to gain a more raw, air-cooled, noisy, cantankerous motorcycle ride with the Himalayan. The Himalayan just has more soul. The Kawasaki's very appliance-like. You turn the key, it starts, it sounds like a sewing machine. You get on, you go to point A to point B. And it does all that very, very well, mind you. But for some people that doesn't cut it, you know, they want something more. I would imagine if someone likes Harley Davidson style motorcycles, they're definitely going to jump on the Himalayan for its aesthetics. You know, it's much less appliance-like. It's more raw. It's basic. It's retro. And for as being a basic retro bike that it is, it's a pretty amazing bike in regards to the way it handles, the way it functions off-road, and just the feeling you get from riding it. This bike, statistically, or if you want to go by stats, is superior in just about every way. But stats aren't everything, you and I know that. It's lighter, it has more horsepower, it has better brakes, it gets the same or better miles per gallon, it has, I think, a slightly bigger gas tank. It has better wind protection, a lot better wind protection. It doesn't have a 7th gear though, even though I keep trying to find it. Yeah, that's a tough choice. Like I said, pick the one you like to look at, because you're going to have to look at it sitting in your garage or your driveway, or if you're a lucky guy, a girl, it'll be sitting in your living room where you can polish it while you're watching episodes of Norley riding across the world with her itchy boots episodes on YouTube. So yeah, that's, as far as picking one, that's going to be up to the individual. Like I said, you're not going to go wrong with either one. You're not going to regret either one, unless you want a bike that goes fast. That'll be your only regret. If you are an experienced rider and you know that going into it, you know these bikes are slow, then you'll be fine. If you're an intermediate rider and you know you're somewhat of a gearhead and you like to twist the throttle and you're expecting a lot of adrenaline out of either one of these bikes, then it's the wrong bike. If you're a new rider learning to ride, either bike would be a good bike. For a new rider, I would say the Versys is a better bike. The slipper clutch, the lighter weight, all that just kind of add up to an easier experience. There's literally no clutch effort here. You could clutch this guy all day long and you wouldn't even notice it. And the slipper clutch is nice when you downshift. If you downshift too far and let out the clutch, it won't lock up the rear wheel. It'll just spin along until the clutch catches up, does its thing, and lets the engine catch up with the transmission. I haven't tested that on Himalayan. I do believe it's somewhat of a slipper clutch, but I don't know that it's advertised as one. And I've never even tried it, because why would you downshift the Himalayan? There's no point. It's a low revving motor, so you're not going to downshift to go into a corner. You're just going to putter through the corner. Or if you do downshift, it's only going to be one gear, not 3 or 4. So yeah, as far as a beginner rider, this bike might be easier. Here, so this guy can see me. Hi. Defensive driving, guys. You gotta always think about defensive driving. I peeked over my shoulder, noticed there was nobody behind me, and I saw that guy was going to turn left. So I wanted to make sure he could see me behind this truck. I wish Kawasaki would make a KLX 450. Just get rid of the KLR. You know, replace the KLR with a 7 or 750cc actual adventure bike with a good suspension. And then build a KLX 450R, or even a street legal version. I don't know that the street legal version would be that popular. I mean, maybe. I know to ride BDRs on most of the places in California now, the bike has to be street legal. Which, you know, all dirt bikes now that are red stickered, or you can only ride them on race day at an official racetrack or on private property. No more dirt bikes on BDRs or public lands anywhere. Not on gravel roads anywhere, nowhere. That's all been shut off. If this is happening in your state, you might want to get involved to try to change that. So yeah, any red sticker bike like a KX or an RM or a YZF or any of those motocross bikes, in California they're called red stickers. They don't have any emissions on them whatsoever. They can only be ridden on a designated official racetrack or private property. That's it. End of story. So as far as, you know, us folks here in California, we need the street legal dirt bikes. And I think that's why the popularity of like the KTM 350 and 500 EXF or EXE or whatever it's called has exploded. And now Husqvarna's version has actually become really popular, because those are basically dirt bikes that would otherwise be red tagged, but because they're street legal and they have some emissions on them, we can ride them anywhere, on public lands, on OHVs, on BDRs, and on the street. So that's why there's a surge in popularity of bikes like that here. And right now I think Honda makes a street legal 450, and Kawasaki for some reason sticking with their almost 40-year-old design KLR 650. Same with Honda. It's, what is it? Is it an XR still, or is it an XL? XR 650L, something like that. Bike's been around since the mid-80s. I don't think it's changed that much. They're very heavy, and Suzuki as well, right? They have the DER, I think. Almost too much bike, too much weight for a lot of fun off-road. It'll do it, yeah, and a lot of people do it. But man, when you get on a bike that's designed for that, like just straight up dirt bike, right? And I mean, maybe that's where a lot of criticism for the off-road capabilities of the Himalayan and this come from, is I have a KLX 300R, right? And man, I've taken that thing to the places where I used to ride my Himalayan, and there's literally no effort whatsoever, whereas on the Himalayan it would bust my balls and wear me out. On the KLX, it's literally like riding on a cloud. Give it a little throttle, up the hill, over the hill, down. I mean, so much less effort. So lightweight is where it's at. And the funny thing is, the KLX 300 is not considered a lightweight bike. It's 280 pounds. I think my son's KTM 500 is 245 pounds. So yeah, a bike less than 300 pounds to me would be an ideal bike for BDR type work. Just load it up with some Moscow motor bags or Tusk or whatever. Maybe a little bit better windshield. Not too big though, you're just going to break it off if it gets too big. A couple of crash guards to protect your engine for when you crash, and go for it. I mean, I don't want to spend all day on a KTM 500 though, riding from here to Blythe. That's a long ways on the highway. But I could always throw a lighter bike like that in the back of a truck, drive my truck over there, lock the truck up in a hotel parking lot, and there are some that you can do that. Unload the bikes and go spend a day or two on the trail, come back to the truck, load it back up, and come home. You know, a Himalayan, or even this bike, you know, is easily 100 pounds heavier than those bikes. So makes it not as easy to load them up in a truck, and at least by yourself. I mean, it can be done, yeah, but I don't know. The more I've ridden these bikes off-road, the more I see how less weight is king. It's one of the reasons I don't ride my Africa Twin off-road that much. I don't know that I want to go bombing around on a 500-pound bike. Yeah, you can do it. A lot of people do it. A lot of people rip on Africa Twins, man. They just freaking haul off-road. They do all the things. Wheelies, and drifts, and all that good stuff. Go over the whoops, get some air. I don't know. Whatever's fun for you, you go do it. And then you tell us about it. Because someday you're going to be sitting around and you're going to say, hey, remember that time? And that's what this is all about. Remembering that time. Huh. Somebody got a new house. If I ever, I shouldn't say if, but when I change the steering head bearings on this guy, I think I'm gonna get an all balls conversion kit and run taper bearings, get rid of these balls. It's funny, the website's called All Balls, but they mostly sell taper roller bearings. How does that work?